Hello friends, today we are going to talk about anti-epileptic drugs. In this part of lecture, we will first see types of epilepsy and its presentations, then its etiology, pathophysiological aspects, epidemiology, and then we will classify anti-epileptic drugs and talk about their mechanism of actions. If we define seizure, seizure is a paroxysmal abnormal discharge of impulse by aggregates of neurons in cerebral cortex at high frequency. Headache, stroke, and epilepsy are three common neurological disorders. Here, epilepsy has worldwide prevalence of about 1% and the most common is stroke. See, in epilepsy, there is continued recurrence of seizures. See, sudden and transient episodes of loss or disturbance of consciousness occurs with or without characteristics body movement. If we classify epilepsy, the first type is generalized seizure. In generalized seizure, there is a diffuse origin involving both hemispheres of brain. While in the second type, that is focal seizure, here there is an unilateral localized origin in the brain, but it may spread to small or large areas of brain. The third one is unclassified seizures. Certain seizures cannot be categorized into partial or generalized seizure because of their atypical pattern, and so they are labeled as unclassified. Now, if we see the types of generalized seizure, the first one is generalized tonic-clonic seizure. It is the commonest form of generalized seizure. Here, patient feels aura that he or she may have the seizure episode. Patient falls to the ground in stiff tonic phase. In this image, you can see the patient is with extended legs with a typical epileptic cry because of tonic contraction of laryngeal muscles, which is followed by the clonic conversion, that is repetitive bilateral muscle jerking, and then coma, which is about 15 to 30 minutes. Here, coma means the state of prolonged sleep. Recovery occurs with depression of all CNS function, and patient may be in stupor, having amnesia, post-ictal depression, mental confusion, incontinence, and patient is exhausted. This condition is well responds to pharmacotherapy. A severe form of this epilepsy is known as status epilepticus, where the repeated attacks of seizure occurs without recovery of consciousness. The next type is petit mal, or we can say absence seizures. In absence seizures, there is no aura that is seen with generalized tonic-clonic seizures, and usually there is no loss of consciousness. But momentary loss of consciousness occur for few seconds with subtle bilateral motor symptoms like say rapid blinking of eyelids, chewing movements, and clonic jerks of hand. It is the main type of seizure in about 20% of epileptic children. Myoclonic seizure. Here in myoclonic seizure, there is a sudden and brief skeletal muscle contraction occurs either of one part of body or entire body. The next is atonic seizure, where sudden loss of postural tone is there, so patient suddenly falls. Unconsciousness is there for a brief period, but there is no post-ictal confusion is seen. Infantile spasms usually occurs in the infants. There is intermittent muscle spasm and progressive mental retardation is seen. Second type is focal or partial seizures, in which subtypes are simple partial seizure. In simple partial seizures, usually unilateral clonic movements are there, which begins in one group and then spreads. So here the muscles are involved and it is known as Jacksonian motor seizures. Somatosensory symptoms are there in some, that is auditory, visual or olfactory hallucinations are seen, and pin and needle sensations are there, and that is known as Jacksonian sensory seizures. And in this simple partial seizure, there is no loss of consciousness is there. The second subtype is complex partial seizure, in which temporal lobe or frontal lobe is involved with partial loss of consciousness, and patient do bizarre thing.
there is a dream state of psychic seizure is seen, like say patient get up, put on clothes, maybe walking, and even drives during the period. Uh, it doesn't follow your commands and doesn't recollect the events that has been there. And there is also auditory, visual, or olfactory aura is there, and there is automatism like lip smacking, fumbling, scratching with no memory. Simple partial seizures or complex partial seizures may evolve to secondary generalized seizure also. If we see the etiology of epilepsy, then some of the cases are idiopathic, in which there is no reason found for epilepsy. In some cases, there is genetic link is there, that epilepsy genes are there. More than one gene is involved. Usually, that is in with juvenile myoclonic epilepsy syndrome. Sometimes the brain lesions, usually with birth trauma, is responsible for epilepsy. Infections also of CNS, like say meningitis or brain abscess, can also give rise to epilepsy. Then metabolic disorder like hypoglycemia, lack of oxygen, hypocalcemia, hyperpyrexia, and vitamin B6 deficiency may also give rise to epileptic episode. There is also a reason of sudden withdrawal of drugs of abuse, like say barbiturate and alcohol. Sometimes musicogenic temporal lobe seizures are precipitated because of the TV, disco flashes, or listening to full blast pop music can also give rise to epilepsy. If we see the pathogenesis of epilepsy, in 19th century, the neurologist H. Jackson suggested a sudden excessive disorderly discharge of cerebral neurons as the causation of epileptic seizure, while in recent studies in animal models of focal epilepsy suggest a central role for the excitatory neurotransmitter glutamate and inhibitory gamma aminobutyric acid. Adenosine, which is an endogenous anti-seizure substance, role is also mentioned. If we see the epidemiology and course, epilepsy usually presents in childhood or adolescence but may occur for the first type at any age. 5% of the population suffer a single seizure at some time in life, and from that 0.5 to 1% of the population have recurrent seizures and diagnosed as epilepsy. 70% of the epilepsy is well controlled with the drugs and have prolonged remission, while the remaining epilepsy at least partially resistant to drug treatment, and we can say that it is pharmacoresistant epilepsy. If we see the experimental animal models, the first model is maximal electroshock seizures. Here, brief high intensity shock is applied to the rodent with help of ear pinna or conjunctival electrode, and convulsions are produced, and the tonic phase is selectively abolished by drugs which are effective in generalized tonic-clonic epilepsy or complex partial seizures. Activity in this model gives idea on spread of seizure discharge. The second model is pentylene tetrazole clonic seizure. Here the injection of pentylene tetrazole is given to the rats or mice, and clonic convulsions are produced, which are prevented by the drugs effective in petit mal epilepsy. The third one is chronic focal seizures, which are produced by direct application of alumina cream, cobalt salt, or penicillin-like chemicals on the motor cortex of monkey. The fourth model is Kindle seizure. Here, there is repeated, brief, low-intensity electrical stimuli are applied to the limbic area daily, and after discharge increases progressively, and with time spontaneous seizures set in, usually after more than 100 shocks. And kindling is probably involved in the genesis of complex partial seizures and generalized tonic-clonic seizure. And pilocarpine induced seizure model is used to study the drugs which are effective in status epilepticus. A drug which decreases the frequency and or severity of seizures in the people with epilepsy are known as anti-epileptic drug, and it treats the symptoms of seizures but not the underlying epileptic condition. The goal of giving anti-epileptic drug therapy is to maximize quality of life by minimizing seizures and adverse drug effect. Currently, no anti-epileptogenic drugs are available. Therapy has been improved significantly since so many years because for so many years ago, here you can see 1796, you can read the sentence that give the sick person some blood from a pregnant donkey to drink or strip linen in it, dry it, pour alcohol onto it and administer this treatment for epilepsy. So we can understand how much improvement in therapy is nowadays. If we see the current pharmacotherapy, just under 60% of all people with epilepsy can become seizure free with a particularly drug therapy. In another 20%, the seizures can be drastically reduced, and 20% epileptic patients seizures are refractory to the currently available anti-epileptic drug. Now, how to choose anti-epileptic drug is that depends on the seizure type, epilepsy syndrome, pharmacokinetic profile, drug interactions or other medical conditions, efficacy of the drug, and expected adverse effect and cost of the therapy. If we see the general facts about the anti-epileptic drugs, then all the drugs have good oral absorption and bioavailability. Most drugs are metabolized in the liver, but some excreted unchanged in the kidney. Classic drugs generally have more severe CNS sedation than the newer drugs. And because of the overlapping mechanism of action, the best drug can be chosen based on the minimizing side effects in addition to the efficacy. Targets for anti-epileptic drugs are like say inhibitory neurotransmitter system, GABA to be increased, to decrease the excitatory neurotransmitter system, specifically the glutamate, block the voltage gated inward positive currents like sodium and calcium, and many anti-epileptic drugs are pleiotropic, means they act via multiple other mechanisms. So for treatment of seizures, our goals are to block repetitive neuronal firing, to block the synchronization of neuronal discharges, and block propagation of seizure. We should minimize side effects with the simplest drug regime, and monotherapy is recommended in most of the cases. Now, if we see the classification of anti-epileptic drugs, the classical drugs are phenytoin, phenobarbital, primidone, carbamazepine, ethosuximide, and valproate. And some newer drugs are lamotrigine, zonisamide, lacosamide, topiramate, gabapentin, pregabalin, tiagabine, vigabatrin, oxcarbazepine, and eslicarbazepine, levetiracetam, and fosphenytoin. If we see the chemical based classification of anti-epileptic drugs, the chemical compound class and BAMR drugs. But from the barbiturate class, the phenobarbital, deoxybarbiturate, primidone. From the hydantoid class, phenytoin is there, immunostilbene group, carbamazepine, succinimide, that is ethosuximide, aliphatic carboxylic acid, sodium valproate, benzodiazepines, that is clonazepam, diazepam, clobazam, phenyltrazine, lamotrigine, cyclic GABA analog is gabapentin, and newer drugs are vigabatrin, topiramate, etc. Now let us see the mechanism of action of drugs. Mechanism of drugs that are used in grand mal and partial seizures, that is inhibition of use dependent, or we can say voltage dependent sodium channels. Drugs like phenytoin, carbamazepine, valproate, lamotrigine, etc. use this mechanism for their anti-epileptic action. They usually do preferential block, that means they prolongs a particular state of the verticated sodium channels. They prolong the inactivated phase. As we all know, the sodium channels usually remains in the three states. The first one is the resting state, and here the second state is on arrival of action potential. The depolarization is there and channel open ups, and which allows sodium to flow in. And in the refractory state, that is the inactivation state, sodium is not allowed, right? So here our drugs, they specifically act on the inactivation state and prolongs the duration of inactivation of channels. Here you can again see in the animated form, here in the sodium channel, that is activation gate is there and inactivation gate is there. So when channel is open, the sodium enters inside and flows in, right? But when the drug is acting on the channels and they act on the inactivation phase, the sodium entry is not allowed inside and channel is blocked. Drugs like carbamazepine, phenytoin, felbamate, lamotrigine, barbiturates, valproate, and topiramate, they act through inhibition of voltage-gated sodium channels and blocks the channels firing at high frequency. Second mechanism is enhancement of GABAergic action. Phenobarbital, benzodiazepine-like drugs use this mechanism. They activate GABAergic receptors, specifically GABA A channel complex, and facilitates GABA-mediated opening of chloride channels. Benzodiazepine specifically increases the frequency of opening of chloride channels, and phenobarbital increases the duration of opening of chloride channels. Vigabatrin inhibits enzyme GABA transaminase and increases GABA concentration, and tiagabine also inhibits GABA uptake transporter and increases GABA concentration. So here in this image you can see that benzodiazepines and barbiturate, they act on GABA receptor and increasing the chloride conductance, and increased chloride conductance into the neurons leads to hyperpolarization and reduced neuronal excitability, which leads to anti-epileptic effect. Vigabatrin, it acts on the GABA transaminase, and tiagabine, it inhibits the GABA transporter. The third mechanism is the blockade of NMDA receptors. The activation of NMDA receptors causes depolarizing response and seizure activity. So drug like felbamate blocks the NMDA receptor and have anti-seizure activity. Now mechanism of drugs which are used in petit mal or we can say absence seizure is they inhibit the T-type calcium channels. Drugs like ethosuximide inhibits the low threshold calcium current channels. Calcium channels. Through the calcium channels, calcium ion passes and causes depolarization. Our drugs like say valproate and ethosuximide causes reduction in flow of calcium through these T-type calcium channels in the thalamus. So that is all about this part of lecture. Thank you. Stay safe. We will discuss about the individual agents in our next lecture.